So we are a Solana Depin project building the largest on-street camera infrastructure for map making and autonomous driving. And today I have Philip, Chief Product Officer at Grab. I'm sure if you guys have been in Singapore this year or last year's, you had to use Grab to get around. So for people that don't know, we actually have a partnership with Grab. We launched the Tesla dongle together. This was actually your innovation, your hardware. We're just using it for data collection. You can plug it into any Tesla. We collect from 6 surrounding cameras of the Tesla, multi-camera data, and we use that for map making and autonomous driving. So funnily, when I reached out first time to Philip, I was quite amazed because I knew that we're going to get into that. Philip is an OG in crowdsourced map making. But I was quite amazed by how much involved you are even in the Depin space. And later on, I even learned that I think you guys were doing Depin before Depin was a term yet. And later on, I realized Grab has integrated both the stablecoins, and we are also working a lot on the Depin side of the story, data collection, crowdsourcing, the map making data. So super excited to unpack all of that. But before we get technical, Philip, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in Grab, and I think the audience would love to know that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been a fun ride to join Grab. So I've been in the mapping space for quite a long time. So back in like 2008, 2009, I started a mapping and navigation company, Scobbler, back out of Europe. We're one of the first like open source navigation like apps based on OpenStreetMap, if some of you know. So I was one of the founders there. Then 2014 sold the company, moved over to Silicon Valley, went into a very boring space, which is automotive navigation for some traditional car makers. Have seen like firsthand how exploitative map making companies are with their license fees and so on. And then, 2019, now 6 years ago, joined Grab early on in the mapping division, and then did a bunch of things. Now I lead, so I'm now Chief Product Officer, leading product design, analytics, business development, bunch of other things at Grab. And I'm still like our single-threaded leader for all things maps at Grab. So if any of you have any problems with maps or anything Grab, come talk to me after and share your feedback.
We're going to get into map making in a second. I would, because both of us are actually working on the mapping. At least we are at NATIX working on the map making side with you guys. But Grab today isn't just a ride-hailing app. It started as a ride-hailing app, but it's not anymore. You guys are operating system, I would say, for Southeast Asia. You have wallet, you have food, you have transport, all of this. And right now, we saw that you have integrated Web3 infrastructure. Started with stables. Actually, you guys met headline with integration with USDC, and this was 2 years ago. I remember it was token 2049 2 years ago, which means you started even before that. Stables are right now very, very hot. But back in the time, I think it wasn't as hot. And I would like to just learn a little bit more. What did you learn from this integration with stablecoins? Was it an experiment or part of a longer term vision?
I think I'll launch in stablecoins. For those of you who are not familiar, you can basically onboard on Grab with stablecoins. Can use them to top up your wallet, and then like book Grab rides, food orders, whatever you like. So that's kind of like the experience we launched. And for us, it's really like meeting the users where they are. Southeast Asia is like a huge traveler destination. And I think one of the key reasons this was so attractive for us is that many people travel into Southeast Asia, right? Like be it like Bali, Thailand, also of course Singapore. And it's a great way for people to onboard seamlessly to the Grab app, and that's been like proven like quite well. And we're doing a bunch of more things, right? We're working very closely with a bunch of regulators. What other experiences can we launch? We have a bunch of people very excited about the crypto space internally that want to do more. So we'll see.
It's quite interesting because I feel, a lot of these very cutting edge things are happening at Grab, which I don't know, for me, it was kind of a shock because you guys are a very large corporate, publicly listed company, but yet again, we're going to get to map making, but even from stablecoin side, you're very, very, I would say, innovative on ahead of the curve.
Thank you. I think, well, we're large, but we're always trying to stay a startup mentality, which helps to be like, that Anthony, our founder, is around, helps to be a founder-led company. I think that we can try to move fast.
Yeah, so let's move on to the map making side. I think we're both a little bit even more passionate around that, and that's where we're collaborating together. Interestingly, when we looked into building this product for Tesla, we were looking into other solution providers that might have the hardware, and then we realized you guys do have that hardware, and that's why we're using your hardware stack for that. But then, looking a little bit deeper, we realize you guys have a dash cam, you have a camera that is arguably as good as these, very expensive cameras you can see on Google Street View cars or very professional map making vehicles. I would love to hear a little bit about how you guys have started this, because again, I think Grab started this kind of crowdsourcing. You started it actually with OpenStreetCam and OpenStreetMaps. I think a lot of people might have in one shape or form used this. And then you also even had the rewarding of your users. So I want to know a little bit about this story and how you see Depin as a next generation of whatever you guys have built, I think.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, maps at Grab are very core to our experience, right? Like every time you book a ride, every time you order food, there's obviously a map powering that, because basically Grab is kind of an API to the real world, right? You push a button on your app and then a driver shows up, picks you up or delivers food to you, right? Like that's at the core what Grab is. And for that, accurate maps are extremely important. The driver might be off at the wrong side of the building, you don't meet him, and it's very frustrating for you and the driver. So that's kind of like what our journey started, that we needed the most accurate maps in Southeast Asia. And we've seen that the existing map companies, they would just charge us insanely high fees. And that's why in like typical Grab fashion, we said like, okay, we need to build our own maps. We can just not rely on these maps that cause so much friction for our users and cost us so much money. And that's kind of like the origin, like where we started like Grab Maps. And you're right, right? Like it was not like called Depin, and it's not originally based on crypto what we did, but we said like the best way for us to build maps is to pay our drivers collecting the data. Like, so what we did is we said like, oh, we need to build cameras that are really affordable, because traditional map making, as some of you guys might know, I mean, some of you have maybe seen like a Google Maps van or so on. These vehicles have like, I don't know, 20 cameras and like a LiDAR, and the car costs like $200,000. But this just doesn't scale in Southeast Asia. If I sent these cars to the roads, they wouldn't even fit to the narrow side alleys in Jakarta or Thailand, right? Like, so they're too expensive and they just can't go everywhere. So what we built originally, we said like, we need to have something like a GoPro, but that is professional for map making, that is so easy to operate that our drivers can do this. So what we did, we built in Shenzhen, in China, we built our own AI map-making hardware, our cameras, that basically the first version, like we strapped on the helmets of drivers. Later, we built them 360 and put them on the back of the car and built them like at like a few hundred or maybe like $1,000 that a driver can do this. And then we said very simply that we believe in the power of crowdsourcing. So we said, we just pay the drivers for data collection. And in our case, that was easy because we already have obviously a relationship with the drivers. And we call them in our case like gig mappers, right? Like, so like we have like the gig workers doing like food deliveries and transport jobs. We have gig mappers who earn an income from collecting map data. And it was insane. We have now more Street View data in Southeast Asia than anybody else. Right? Like period, there's nobody who has that much Street View images in Southeast Asia than Grab, because we pay our drivers and our drivers go anywhere. So we made it kind of like an additional income stream for our drivers, because we're always very proud if our drivers can earn money. And therefore we built all these cameras that you mentioned, right? Like we built like a camera for like 2 wheels for motorcycles that can mount in the back of your car. We built one that you can mount in your backpack if you want to collect data in a mall, or all the ones that you mentioned, like that you can plug into like a car to collect the data from the existing cameras you have in the vehicle. So that was kind of the origin from that. And based on the data we collected, we built the maps that we're using for Grab, that are now powering every single service at Grab is using our own maps, basically. So that's kind of like the origin story of that.
That is pretty cool, that you guys have been already paying your drivers or the geek mappers money. Can you give us just, I think the audience might be interested, what was the amount that you were paying? What was the highest earning driver getting from generating this map data? I mean, up to the extent that you can share.
Yeah, no, of course. I don't know the exact amount, but one thing that I was extremely excited about, so is at Grab, we really do this immersions where we go on the ground, meet our drivers, meet our partners. So I met like one driver that from his mapping income bought himself a new motorcycle. That was like something that was like for me like really, really cool to like talk to somebody that they could really literally buy a new quite nice motorcycle, and the guy gave me a ride. It was big enough to fit both of us, so it was like quite cool. So I know that like one of the highest earning gig mappers, they made enough to buy a new motorcycle, which was really cool.
That is quite crazy. I mean, same thing goes with us. I think. But another aspect that was very interesting for me was that you just didn't hand out the camera just to anyone. You controlled the supply side of the data, right? Not just anyone could just join your network and get money. Why was that? Maybe because I think a lot of Depins can learn a lesson or two from that model.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's a privilege for our best drivers, right? Like, so we obsess about like driver ratings and the highest rating ones. And we see it as an additional income opportunity for drivers, right? Because in food delivery, you have a lot of jobs during lunch, lot of jobs during dinner, not so much jobs in between. So what we did is we say the best drivers, they get the opportunity in between basically to make money from mapping. So we gave it as a privilege to these drivers. And the reason is we only need so much map data in every city, right? Like it's not unlimited, right? Like we only need to collect every address like maybe once or twice, and we want to pay our drivers fair money for that. So that's why we don't like flood a city with like 100 cameras, but we say, depending on the size of the city, we maybe pick 10, 20, 50 drivers and let them collect and make sure that they get decent earnings from that we can support.
Because a lot of Depin projects, I think they focus too much on just growing the network, and then it's okay to collect a lot of data. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But the issue comes with the fact that you're over basically rewarding with the token, and then there's sell pressure on the other side, and then you're diluting your project, and then the token value goes down, and then the driver aren't getting paid enough, and we see that with a lot of projects. But I would like to also hear, so how do you see the Depin or crypto incentivized physical infrastructure version of this kind of different from what you guys have done? Do you see it in a positive way, in a negative way, or what are the positive things and negative things? You're working with one, right? So,
yeah.
And I know you understand this space better than anybody else that I've seen from the corporate world or from these kind of super app ecosystems. So yeah, we're just curious to know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't work together. I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't see it very positively, obviously. No, I think for me, right, in Southeast Asia, we had so many drivers that we paid. I really was super excited when you reached out, because I really have seen the mapping industry for so long that it doesn't allow people to make a fair income for the data that they contribute. And in Southeast Asia, we could do this by paying our drivers, but we have built all this hardware and all these capabilities, which we could just not do outside of Southeast Asia easily. So that's why I was so excited when you came and say like, hey, you want to use the hardware and build a way for Tesla drivers to earn an additional income, which is strongly aligned with the values that I and we as a team have. So that's why I was so excited when we said like, yeah, of course, like if there's people beyond that can benefit from that and make an income. And that's, I think, where Depin is great, right? Like it just like decentralizes the earnings opportunity for people that contribute to map, that contribute to autonomous training data, what you guys are doing. So that's why I think it's just the next logical kind of like evolution, that you just let people benefit from that and not like just a select few. I think that's why I'm really excited about it.
So I think for us as well, when like we could have built a lot of things in-house, but then we realized what technologies you have, we wanted to focus more on the data collection, which is the core of our business. And if we could have outsourced the hardware side, and we are even working on the post-processing of the imagery that we collect, right, for map making. And for us, it was, I mean, a couple of cool things I know the audience hasn't seen yet, and we're gonna publish them soon in the works that we have with you guys. But I think hands down, I have looked at a lot of other map making technologies that are out there, even the biggest map makers. I'm not gonna name, but we all know them. And I think you guys have one of the, if not the best, crowdsourced map making technology out there. And for us, it was just a no-brainer to kind of outsource that, work together with you guys, because we can bring the data in the places that you don't have drivers. And you have one of the best technologies that can digest this, well, collect this data, but also digest this data. So it was just a no-brainer for us to work with a company like yours. And I don't know, I think there is no other company that is as good in crowdsourced data collection as Grab. Many people don't know that, but they know you guys for the ride-sharing business. So I think that deserves a lot of credit. We're running a little bit short in time, but just to wrap up, Philip, If there are any last words that you want to say, or how can people find more about you and I don't know, exciting stuff that you guys are doing at Grab?
I mean, as last words, I mean, at Grab, we are obsessed about feedback. So that's why we love working with you, because you've given us a lot of feedback how we can do better. It's just an open invitation, as hopefully some of you have used our service. So we'd love to know how we can do better. So if there's any things, I mean, like just find me after and just share, or just send me like a message after that. So I always love to see like how can we push harder tomorrow and be better tomorrow. So any feedback always like highly appreciated.
By the way, this is crazy. I don't know if I'm supposed to share that, but Philip is the CPO at Grab. It's a large organization, but he still goes from time to time and takes, you know, food delivery essentially himself, or deliveries, to just test the app and see. I mean, there are not many product leads that do this. So I believe it when you say you take feedback seriously. Thanks again, Philip. It was amazing to have you. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. Thank you.